Ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Knight with another Rise of the Witch King commentary on 2.02 version 4.0. This is a Fords of Isen 1 versus 1. We have Mordor in the bottom right corner, which is Muad. And in the top left corner, we have the Booby. Okay, sure. I'll just call you Angmar, though, because that's what the faction that you're playing as is. And yeah, that's a weird name. I don't even know how to pronounce that. What? I don't know what that means. Okay, well, Angmar's going for a Hall of the King's Men at the beginning. Nothing surprising there. It's a pretty standard start for Angmar. We can see, of course, Mordor going for the Orc Pit. An Orc start is pretty normal as well. Nothing out of the ordinary yet. So far, the players are just setting up their bases, preparing their resource buildings, putting them in the right spots. Of course, you want them to be at least at a 97%. When you actually construct them so that they produce 25 resources, as you can see here, which is the maximum they can produce at level 1. So this is good building placement so far by the two players. Is this rotated? Interesting. This mill is actually rotated. It's not, you don't really see players do that very often. Could have been an accident just as he was trying to place it, or maybe he just did it intentionally just to make it look cool. It's always fun to see little things like that. I don't know. It doesn't really make any difference in that case, I think, but yeah, it just looks cooler. Because you're so used to players just quickly placing their resource buildings without really giving them much thought, because obviously they're in a hurry trying to get ready to start the game and attack their opponent. So it's nice to see little things like that. Now these orcs are moving left. Presumably they'll try to attack from the left flank there. And these Gundabad orcs are actually heading directly south. They almost ran into the orcs, but the orcs are still going. And the Gundabad orcs decided to take well, okay, they changed their minds. They were going to go towards the right, but they decided against it to go around the west side of this little hill here. But now we have more orcs. Oh, the builder is in a dangerous spot. Okay, the builder is escaping. You don't want to lose a builder this early in the game. That would be pretty disastrous. Mordor just deleted his slaughterhouse in order to save resources. Of course, he gained 150 resources, which was half the original cost for building it just by deleting it. And of course, if you add in all the resources he gained while it was producing before it got deleted, you know, it was probably still worth actually building it in the first place, even though he lost it very quickly. We have 3 orc pits now from Mordor, and we can see up here Angmar's trying to bring down Mordor's economy. And meanwhile, we have Mordor here just walking right past this mill. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, it looks like he's going to attack it now. But right now, he's really having a little bit of trouble in his base. He already has to counter a number of these Gundabad orcs. Now he has to rebuild these slaughterhouses. Meanwhile, he hasn't really done much damage. I don't even know if he can take out this mill. He might be able to, but there are only a couple of orcs really left. No, he's not going to be able to, because these axe throwers are going to finish them pretty fast. Sometimes you get lucky because it's hard for ranged units to get around the building to actually hit you. But yeah, this should be pretty easy for the axe throwers to handle. Pretty close though, but not enough damage to destroy the mill. Now we have more orcs on their way. I don't know if you can hear that. That's the soundtrack from The Hobbit in the background. And now with these orc archers, Angmar is going to have a harder time actually destroying these slaughterhouses. Right now he's trying to counter more orcs, and he's got plenty of troops to do it. A few Rudar spearmen mixed in just in case Mordor happens to have some kind of cavalry unit. Might be a bit early though. I mean, with Mordor you normally do a bunch of orc bits at the beginning, so you don't quite see cavalry that fast, but it never hurts to have some pikes anyway. Of course, the advantage of playing as Angmar is that you have Thrall Masters, which can summon any kind of unit, even cavalry once you have a Troll and Wolf's Den, at least in 2.02. In 2.01, I think they could just build Wolf Riders even without the Troll and Wolf Den. But yeah, they're very versatile, and you can just decide on the spot what kind of unit you want. Like right now, Angmar decided to get some axe throwers. Now it looks like Mordor is making a pretty big push through the middle, and we have more orcs probably heading left and some more orcs over here. Angmar has been trying to expand his economy But right now, it's under threat. So it was a good initial push by Angmar, but now he's on the defense. Those Orc Archers can be pretty useful. Let's take a look at powers. We have War Chant for Angmar. And another War Chant for Mordor. So same powers here. And just trying to do a little bit of damage. But Angmar does have a lot of troops now in this middle area. A bear seems to be running away from this disastrous fight. These orcs actually are still alive, and they're actually level 2, so they can actually replenish their units, but they're going to get killed by this warg, by the looks of it. Wargs, of course, are very effective against swordsmen, which orc warriors are. And yeah, Angmar's outnumbering Mordor up here. But Mordor has a good... is in a good situation down here, and he's going to take out this builder. And the builder's down. Ouch. Ouch. That's always annoying when you're building a mill, or whatever resource building your faction happens to have, and of course the enemy shows up and then you lose your builder along with that building. That's really not fun. So Angmar has pretty much repelled Mordor's attacks. There's still a couple of troops here, and over here Angmar is still making a push to destroy this Mordor player's economy. These axe throwers trying to destroy the slaughterhouse, but the Orc Archers are going to get to them and kill them pretty fast. The Eye of Sauron being used to buff these archers so they kill these units more effectively. And now Angmar has been repelled once again. Now it looks like, yeah, you want to be careful when building slaughterhouses close to lairs. I always hate it when this happens, but it's especially bad if you build it near something like a troll lair, because a troll will just destroy your building so fast. Mordor's going to want to send some units here and just clear this lair. Level 3 Thrallmaster, but he's going to die. He can't really do anything. The Eye of Sauron's still moving around. Always useful as a scouting power, of course, not just for buffing. Now we have two... why is this facing this way? Okay. You always want to be careful about the direction that your buildings are facing, because now Thrallmasters are going to come out on this side. Now I wonder why... I wonder if this was done intentionally, or if this was just an accident. Normally you want all your buildings facing this way, because this is the side that your enemies are going to come from, and it's the side that you're going to be heading towards when you actually attack. This slaughterhouse is not going to last long. Meanwhile, over here, Angmar again fighting Mordor. Really interesting battle so far, because the players are fighting on all the different sides of the map. We have Easterlings here. Obviously, Mordor is concerned about the potential for cavalry from Angmar, but Angmar has no troll and wolf den yet, so he cannot get any cavalry. Still has two Halls of the King's Men. We're seeing Blackworks from Mordor. And he's now building a lumber mill. Always good to improve your economy. What the? How did I miss this? There's a Hall of the King's Men right beside Mordor's base. This is a bit aggressive. I mean, does he really think he's going to be able to keep this building here for long? He doesn't have enough of an advantage in terms of map control over Mordor to actually build a building right over here. This is just... I don't know why you would do this. But for now, he can keep Mordor busy. And of course, if Mordor is focused over here, then Angmar can move in from other sides of the map, like this middle area. Those Orc Archers are very deadly. They can kill all of these units pretty easily. We do have Black Númenóreans, which of course are elite swordsmen. They're much stronger than the Gundabad Orcs. They're also a lot more expensive. We still have this Hall of the King's Men. Angmar just trying to finish off this building just before he loses his Thrallmaster, and he just barely does it. And that's a good idea. Always summon units when you're under attack. You don't want your Thrallmaster fighting by himself, and it looks like he's still moving with these units. But I don't know how far he can really get. He's going to take a heavy beating. And this really needs to be taken down. This is still up. It looks like Mordor decided to just go straight for Angmar's base. But he's got mostly Orc Archers, so he can kill those units pretty effectively. Although, of course, Angmar can always produce more, but he can't destroy buildings very effectively, and that's the problem, because he's going to need to be able to do that. Now, Mordor is doing some damage to this Hall of the King's Men now, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do enough with just one unit of Orcs. Here, Mordor is moving in. Perhaps what he's going to do is try to just kill off any of Angmar's remaining forces and prevent him from just building new ones by positioning himself really close to his production buildings. We have a Troll and Wolf Den going up, so Angmar could get cavalry pretty quickly. And we have a Troll Cage. This should be interesting. Oh no, it's not a Troll Cage. This is a Mumak pen. That's interesting. Okay. I wonder what's going to happen here. Mumakil are pretty strong in 2.02. They're also a lot more expensive, though, than in 2.01. It's a pretty big investment to get a Mumakil, but it could make a pretty big difference, depending on the number of pikes that Angmar has. Of course, Angmar can just produce as many pikes as he wants as soon as he notices that Mumakil are on the field. Right now, there wasn't much reason to do so. These units need to move and do something. Oh, hello! I missed this. Untamed Allegiance was used by Angmar, and he's going to go for a troll attack. I love this strategy. It's a pretty fun strategy. Take over a cave troll lair, build a couple of cave trolls, and just attack the enemy's base. He's heading straight for that. And with these orcs can't really... They're not very effective against trolls. He's going to try to fight them. He's gonna need to. But these are going to do a lot of damage. And meanwhile, here, Mordor can't do a whole lot of damage to Angmar's base. He can just destroy his armies. And look at these trolls. See, this is how powerful this is. It's a pretty big investment, and it takes a lot of time to set this up. But once you have it, you're in a really good position. And there goes Mordor's fortress. Ouch. Wow. These trolls are not going to last too much longer, especially with these Easterlings, but they can definitely do a huge amount of damage. Mumakil, this Mumakil, or Mumak, I guess, is the actual word, is nearly out. Up here, meanwhile, Mordor is just standing here. Now, I did hear the Summon Whites being used. And there you go. We, of course, also have Fell Wind, which is very important for Angmar to get. We have the Mumak. These trolls still alive. Mordor has Industry, but he can't use any of his powers until he rebuilds his fortress. And it seems these trolls have decided to do as much damage as they can to Mordor's base before they get killed off. Only 2 trolls left, and they're on low health. And now it's going to be 1 troll, and this one's running away. Morgomir is just getting shot, but just barely gets away. We do have Dark Rangers. These are going to be very useful against Mordor. These archers trying to hide in this corner, hoping that perhaps Angmar doesn't notice them. But it looks like Mordor's deciding to try to get them out of here. But they're going to get shot to bits. And look at that. Lots of orcs over here. And of course this Mumak is just going to do a huge amount of damage to Angmar if he's allowed to do so. Now how many resources does Mordor actually have? Well, almost none. I wonder if he's already rebuilding? Probably not. I don't think he's building a fortress this fast. He would have to be cash floating pretty hard even before it went down. Yeah, so this is a pretty bad situation. We do have an upgraded Mumak pen. So we're going to see faster build rates for the Mumakil. Now he's trying to take out this troll, this cave troll lair before more cave trolls get produced to do the same thing that we just saw. And that was a level 2 mill that went down, so it was good good move by Mordor to take out these higher level mills. And here we have another battle happening. Mordor is trying to hold off Angmar's advance, but there are Dark Rangers here, and they're so powerful. Meanwhile, the Cave Troll lair is down. And it looks like Mordor's trying to take out this Cave Troll lair too, just to be safe, in case Angmar gets any ideas. There you go. Angmar mainly has archers, ranged units left anyway. So he's not going to be super effective against buildings. These axe throwers are okay, but the rangers not so much. But yeah, right now, Mordor is just getting his units killed. There isn't really much point attacking Angmar right now, because Angmar's firepower is just higher than Mordor's. Oh, never mind. He sent his Mumak. Okay, that works. I assumed the Mumak was still up there. And there you go. Very effective. Angmar really needs enough pikemen to actually counter this. We have a level 5 now, Mumak. And there goes Angmar's army. We have Blight was used on these Mordor orcs. And look at the number of whites that were produced by that. Blight is such an effective power in 2.02. In 2.01, it's almost completely useless. But it was just made so powerful that it became a 15-point power in the latest patch. Well, not the latest version of 2.02, but, you know, after 2.01. The whites, of course, don't last very long, or it would be extremely overpowered. And this inn has been taken, which means Mordor can produce fairly cheap Easterlings. Now, these wolves are actually extremely effective against pikes. So those Easterlings are in a bit of trouble. And here Mordor is just preparing to send his armies forward again. This Mumak kill has really been a huge asset. Now I wonder how many resources he has. He needs to rebuild that fortress. Right, he doesn't really have... Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so he's rebuilding it. It's a 35%. It's a bit farther back than it was originally, so it's a bit harder for the enemy to actually reach. But he's got lots of power points set up. He can get his 15-point power as soon as the fortress goes up. And then actually use it. And of course, this industry is very, very powerful ability, as you can see from the tooltip. Snow trolls are out. These are the best cavalry that Angmar has. And Mordor is controlling both of these inns. Or actually, no, Angmar took this in. So he's now producing wildmen. But Mordor still has this one. Looks like Angmar is just building more and more troops, but Mordor is moving in, and these Mumakil are on, or this Mumak rather, it's just one Mumak, is on his way. You can see there are a lot more pikemen than there were before. But yeah, this is gonna, Mumak is gonna go on a rampage here. Now they're all retreating. Angmar trying to find an opportunity to weaken this army. Summoning whites on top of the orcs. The Mumak, however, was retreated. Possibly to avoid the pikes. And the Mumak really did more damage to his own units than he did to the enemy there by attacking those whites. Mordor here moving from the north. Wonder if he's gonna go and try to attack one of these buildings, maybe with War Chant or something. Let's see if he has that available. He does have the Eye of Sauron. Oh, but Gundabad Orcs were summoned and Fellwind. Great combination. Fellwind with Gundabad Orcs. Great way to bring down an enemy army. And here it looks like Mordor had to retreat. The Mumak's still alive, but he's lost a lot of health. Yeah, these spikes are pretty dangerous. And the Mumok Pen is actually level 3. We have a siege works. We have catapults being built. The fortress is done. Let's take a look at powers again for a second. You have the Summon Worm. Or Awaken Worm. I always thought it was Summon Worm. Okay, Awaken Worm. I never read these tooltips properly, apparently. The Worm is always a very useful ability to have. And these Wildmen just trying to do a bit of damage with the Dire Wolves. And yeah, you want to retreat that builder. Angmar really was taking liberties with this part of the map, just building mills everywhere. So Mordor has his work cut out for him. And up here, there doesn't really seem to be anything. Someone needs to build some buildings there, some resource buildings. As it stands, Mordor's on the defensive right now. And Angmar has the economic advantage in terms of number of mills. Of course, Mordor does have industry, which is pretty useful. And up here, Angmar just trying to do as much damage as possible, but Mordor's on his way with the Mumok. Well, and that was a bit of a sloppy move. Trampling through his own army to get to the enemy army. But he did do the job. He took out Angmar's troops here. This one Mumok has just been so devastating right now. We're gonna see any more, I wonder. It would be interesting to see a couple of them. We haven't seen Hualdar or anything. We've only seen Morgomir from Angmar. But I don't think we've seen any... Have we seen any heroes? I don't think we have from Mordor. Of course, he did lose his fortress pretty fast. Now Mordor is preparing to make an attack. He's taking out these mills. And building his own slaughterhouses in their place. And going in through the middle with this Mumok. This Warglare is still around. And it was actually damaging that mill. This north side of the map is still, there's just no resource buildings here. If either of the players had tried to build something there, it would have been very beneficial. And the worm is summoned on Angmar's base. It's going to do a huge amount of damage unless it's killed quickly. And now it's going after these axe doors. Mordor still has a catapult up here. We have the Witch King. Angmar has the Witch King. And yes, this is the Angmar Witch King, not the Mordor Witch King. He's on a horse, of course. And he just looks more interesting than the Mordor one, frankly, with the armor. Now Pikeman trying to kill the Mumok. What is the Mumok gonna do? He did have an opportunity to retreat, but he did not choose to take it. So he's going to die now, most likely. And now Snowbind was used, and oh. Ultimately a fruitless attempt to destroy a level 3 mill. It just didn't work. And he lost his Mumok, but I guess you can always build more. But they are pretty expensive. A couple of towers were placed here, which is interesting. They'll help defend the space. These, the snow trolls here are just really getting decimated by these archers. They might be able to escape just barely. We're gonna need something like banner carriers, though, to actually replenish. We're getting that weird bug again where you can't really select buildings properly. I have to actually do something like that where you drag and select the building like that. Mordor here took this in. But Angmar is trying to fight for it. And these pikes show up just in time to attack the Witch King. But the Witch King has splash damage and he can just take care of them pretty easily. There's just so many orc archers here. We have the Mouth of Sauron on the field. It would be interesting to see this north side of the map actually be used more, because right now there's nothing going on there. Absolutely nothing. Oh, hello. Okay, so it looks like Mordor used his... what did he use? Yes, he used the Rain of Fire ability. Did a huge amount of damage, took out most of Angmar's base, but Blight was used, and it just butchered Mordor's army. So good counter by Angmar, but he's going to have to rebuild that. Look how many whites there are. It's insane. Too bad for Angmar that most of them are going to die very quickly. Anyway, it looks like Mordor's starting to move up here with his economy. These snow trolls still trying to take down these slaughterhouses. We have a catapult expansion on the fortress here. Again, it should help protect his base. Fell Wind used on Mordor so that Angmar's snow trolls get a chance to take out this building. And they're successful. But they should retreat now. And we have a new one. Another Mumak, of course now level 1 since he's new. But capable of doing so much damage. And now Mordor is just moving in. He's got Harajim archers, which are going to be more useful than the orc archers from the beginning of the game. And it looks like he's at his command point limit. Meanwhile, Angmar, let's see, he's got 1,700 resources, 430 command points. Wow. That's much higher for Mordor. Yeah, and even if you look at the maximum that Angmar has, it's much lower. He needs more resource buildings, more mills. Mordor right now is just doing so well. And he's got a couple of these high-level slaughterhouses that have benefited from industry as well. And here we go again. Dark Ranger's just barely getting out of there. We do have hill trolls. Angmar's elite pikemen. But ultimately, one unit of hill trolls is just not enough. The Witch King uses his terrible fury ability to try to disperse these Mordor troops, and he's just quickly going for these catapults. These are really weird. I always hated the attack animations for the Witch King. It makes no sense. The damage is actually done after the swing.
Do not let me end like
Or
this.
too early. It's really strange. Sounds like the Mouth of Sauron's getting killed. Might be able to get away. Maybe. But the Witch King's after him. It's kind of strange, the Witch King versus the Mouth of Sauron. You'd think they'd be on the same side. Oh, and that's it. He's done. Good use of Morgul corruption. And I think we just heard industry being used again. And look at that, 88 resources. It's a very good idea to keep this slaughterhouse protected. And one of industry's other benefits, obviously it gives you a huge number of resources, but the actual XP gain for each resource building is based on the number of resources it actually gets. So if you have a slaughterhouse that's giving you a much larger number of resources than usual, it's going to level up much faster. So that's how you get fast level 3 buildings. And this level 3 mill is going to go down or not. Snowbind was used to protect it. But can Angmar actually do something about these Mordor troops in time? It doesn't really look like it. But he's going to try. And ouch, don't run into pikes. That was an expensive loss. $700 resources. Don't want to lose that. And the Mumak is going to die. But while these Angmar troops are busy here, Mordor is moving in on the right. And these fire arrows are definitely going to help bring down buildings. Again, Angmar has a serious problem when it comes to his command points. He's way behind Mordor right now. And his maximum is significantly lower as well. He's trying to hold Mordor back, uses the freezing land, or what is it called? Is that long shot? Yes, that was long shot used by the Rangers. But yeah, what's the ability called? Let me find out. Frozen Land. Which of course also buffs troops. As you can see. It also slows enemy units. And again, Mordor is kind of driven back here. But he's got a slaughterhouse even close to the Angmar fortress. At this point, Angmar is just really in trouble. Mordor has a massive advantage, and he's building slaughterhouses everywhere except, again, apparently on the north. But Angmar has actually built a few mills up here, which can help his economy a bit and maintain his command point limit at a reasonable amount. Although it's still lower than it should be. But really, he needs... It's not really the limit that's the problem anymore. It's the actual number of command points that he currently is using. He needs to rebuild his army. And again, where are his... Okay, now we're seeing a Hall of the King's Men. He still owns this inn, but it needs to be repaired. I think all the layers on the map are gone by now. Yeah, they are. The Black Riders are on the field. And they're going to retreat from this onslaught by Angmar. While Angmar is chasing the Black Riders, Mordor is just moving in on his base. And look how many fire arrows there are here. He doesn't have any of his buffs available, though. Now, what you're hearing is freezing rain, which I forgot to mention is actually active. That's why they're all showing up like this, Mordor. The Worm summoned again. At this point, it's pretty much Mordor's job to just finish off his opponent. This builder's going to go down. Angmar can't really do anything now. He's going to try to fight back anyway. He's got Gundabad orcs summoned on top of these orcs. Is that Blight? Yes, I think it is, because I'm seeing whites. But it was not super effective. No, it wasn't Blight. Oh, was that summon whites? It must have been summon whites. Yeah, that explains why there were only a couple of whites. But Blight is almost ready. But can Angmar even last long enough? I mean, look at this. He's going to lose his Hall of the King's Men that he just built. And he has essentially nothing left. Yeah, he's got a couple of mills. But he needs actual unit production buildings. He needs an army, which he's not going to be able to build. As long as Mordor keeps up the pressure at this point, he's got this game. I mean, it would really be quite a miracle for Angmar to turn it around now. Although it does look like Mordor is just sitting back at his base instead of keeping his units as close to Angmar as possible. Because at this point, all he needs to do is just make sure he has units positioned around Angmar's base, and Angmar can't even go anywhere. He can't send his builders anywhere. He can't really do anything. The Witch King is trying to counter the Black Riders. But they're retreating. In aggressive stance for some reason. Use battle stance. I don't know why I get so picky about stances. But it can make a pretty big difference. Of course, in this case, like if they're just by themselves, doesn't really matter. But if they were surprised by some enemies, another Mumok on his way. Yeah, Angmar is in deep trouble. Karsh is on the field. Not sure he'll make much of a difference. He'll help against the orcs, I guess, but there's so many archers. And Blight was used. And now Mordor's army is about to get smashed to bits. But not a big deal for Mordor, who has a much stronger economy than his opponent, and he can just build more units, and he's attacking already from the south, and he still has his Black Riders up here as well, destroying all of Angmar's mills. Yeah, Angmar can't last much longer. Still trying to build more unit production buildings. What was that? The ground was shaking. We have Barrage ready. Rain of Fire is almost ready. That's going to be a nice combo if he decides to wait for that.
Come on.
This was a fun game to watch, but yeah, at this point it's just how long is it going to take until Mordor wins? Karsh trying to do some damage. He's almost level 3. He might reach it. Unless he decides to retreat for some reason. He can still finish these two guys off.
Don't waste time.
And the Black Riders, what are they doing? They need to get out of here right now. And see, that's the thing. You always have to be prepared for Fell Wind. Cavalry charges are so much harder to pull off against Angmar because of Fell Wind. And there you go, they're down. A big loss for Mordor, but ultimately they did so much damage. They really were worth the money. And I heard... There you go. So much for rebuilding his base. And Avalanche. And Barrage, where? Where is it? There it is. Nice. That was fun to watch. But at the end of the day, Angmar has no army left. Or pretty much nothing anyway. He's got Karsh and Morgomir, but in terms of units, there's almost nothing to look at. He has his fortress, and that's about it. Some mills, including some level 3s, or at least one level 3. Again, at this point, I would change the waypoints for all these buildings, and I would have them just go into the center, go to the left, go up here. I don't know. Although if you made it go up here, then they'd probably go through the middle to get up there, so it's not the best choice. But it's a good idea to keep your units just close to the enemy. Just make sure Angmar can't rebuild, because right now Angmar is being given the opportunity to rebuild. Mordor is just rebuilding his army over here, and Angmar is completely safe for now. Not for long, I imagine. But yeah, if you want to end the game more quickly, it's always useful to just prevent him from going anywhere. And at this point, Mordor's base just looks really strong, really well defended. So many catapults. And you have the armor upgrade for the fortress as well. I'm not sure what the point is of sending these rangers. I mean, you might as well let them actually replenish their units, the ones they lost, rather than running them around. You have another Mumok. And again, Angmar is being given the opportunity to just completely rebuild all his buildings. Not sure what Mordor is waiting for.
Fist of Angmar.
And he's apparently unconcerned with the fact that Angmar is actually damaging all of his slaughterhouses over here and bringing them down. Because his units are just standing there. I guess he's at that point in the game where he just feels like, well, I don't really have to try so hard anymore. But if he just keeps giving his opponent a chance to rebuild, the game's never going to end. Right now, these orcs also trying to do some damage to Mordor's economy. I mean, look at this. Mordor pretty much had stuff all over the map. Except maybe up here. But now Angmar's bringing them all down. And he's got 4 halls of the King's Men. I don't see a Troll and Wolf Den anywhere. But he's got those halls. And he's just spamming orcs. I don't know why you would spam only orcs at this point. I mean, he's seen the Mumak. Well, he's seen the previous ones anyway. So he knows that these guys are in massive trouble if another one shows up. And did Mordor just lose a builder as well? Okay. I don't know what he's doing. He's just sitting in his base. He's just letting his opponent get back on his feet and do a lot of damage. What is he doing? We're just watching Angmar tear up his base. He's not going to be able to finish the base, certainly not, but he can do quite a bit of damage. And as he approaches this fortress, he's going to be in trouble. Morgomir is also just getting experience, so is Karsh. When Morgomir hits level 10, he gets his Ruin ability. What am I watching right now? This is so strange. Mouth of Sauron pinned with the Morgul blade. Karsh? No, he does not have Whisper of Death yet. Okay. That would have been interesting. Still, 2 heroes against 1. Mouth of Sauron can't stop that. And he lets him die. And his units are still standing there doing I don't know what. What? What is going on? He's got giants destroying his fortress now. I'm not sure I understand what's happening here. They just decide to let Angmar win? Because Mordor should have won this game. This game should not have been won by Angmar, and yet it looks right now that Angmar might win it. Okay, finally we have a war, and finally we have some effort being made. The fortress is going to go down, though. Again. I am not sure why Mordor allowed this to happen. Now he's finally fighting back when his base is really in danger. Look at that. He has one orc pit left.
Over here.
And Angmar's repelled, but in the meantime, Angmar's had a chance to just invest in. He's got 3,500 resources. Okay, well, where is he building more mills? I think he is. Yeah. So he just has a chance to keep improving himself, and now Mordor is back to being in a bad situation. Of course, Angmar took advantage of the opportunity to build some dark iron forges. I totally missed this. So he was just getting catapults. However, Mordor is finally fighting back, so these are not going to last long. Snowbind is being used to try to save this forge, but it's not going to last long enough. And Angmar just doesn't have the troops right now. Was that? Oh, actually. Oh. Okay, the game ended. I'm not even sure what happened at the end. I have no idea. Because Mordor should have won, but then he stopped playing essentially and just let Angmar destroy most of his base, and then Angmar was basically getting his siege weapons, and finally Mordor's fighting back, and then the game ends. Okay, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know. It was a fun game to watch, though. There was a lot of action going on. I always like the games when there's a lot of fighting going on all over the place. So both players were playing well until Mordor just stopped trying. I don't know what happened. I guess he was just having fun, just kind of decided to sit back and watch what was happening. He pretty much showed Angmar that he was the dominant player in that situation. He was going to win, and then he just kind of sat back and watched everything get turned around. Well, it was fun to watch that, I guess. Yeah, so be sure to keep following my channel. Subscribe to it if you haven't already. And I am Blue Knight from GameReplays.org. If you go to GameReplays.org/Rise of the Witch King, you can find more Rise of the Witch King content like this. So I definitely suggest you check it out. Yeah, this is definitely a really fun game to play and a really fun game to cast. I'll be doing more of these in the future, so stay tuned.